everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be getting into my top 10 series. I'm so excited about this series, so be sure to check out my playlist on my channel. I will have everything else that I do regarding my top 10 series in that playlist. I'm also going to be putting the links of everything that I talk about into the description, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. Timestamps will be in the description, so if you don't have time, if you're a busy mom, if you're a pregnant mom, just click through what you need to click through and then see you later. So today I am talking about my top 10 toddler tips. So I consider toddler more like 12 months and on, basically, until they become a little kid and no longer a toddler. So I currently have a 2-month-old. He has been in the toddler stage for a while now, and woof. So number 1 is have a consistent schedule for your toddler, especially regarding sleep. It is the number 1 thing that I suggest to everybody that asks me about Caden and the things that we do for him. He has a very, very, very consistent schedule. He always has. I can kind of go into a little bit more detail in another video about his whole entire sleep journey, but it has seriously been amazing and we haven't had any issues with him and Carter, who is following in the same tracks. Caden goes to bed at 8 p.m. every single night. He sleeps all the way through until 9:30 every single morning. We get him out of his crib. If he wakes up at 8 a.m., if he wakes up at 9 a.m., he, no matter what, stays in his crib, just hanging out, playing with his stuffed animals, reading a book until 9:30. That is a huge thing for everybody, just to stay consistent so that he can rest, he can just recoup from the night, from the day, and that way it's just everybody has a clear expectation of how much time everybody gets, whether it's sleep or whether it's adult time away from a toddler. So Caden does go to bed between 8 and sleeps until 9:30. He also has a very strict nap schedule. His nap schedule is currently 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So if he takes a 30-minute nap, if he plays in his crib for 20 minutes at the start of his nap, before he even falls asleep, if he takes an hour and a half nap or the 2 hours or goes beyond, of course he can go beyond, but he is all the time 100% staying in his crib between the hours of 1 and 3 o'clock every single day, no matter what, unless it's a special occasion that's weird. So have a consistent schedule with your toddler. Number 2 is get at least an hour of outside playtime a day. I know it's hard. It is really difficult, especially if you're sick, if you're running around all the time, if you have a baby to tend to, a newborn baby, and you're just dealing with all the mom things. If you haven't showered in 4 days, still try to get out for at least an hour. Let your toddler get some of their energy out. Your toddler will thank you and you will thank yourself, honestly. If we don't go outside, if we don't go anywhere, there's no outside stimulation for Caden, he turns into a wild animal, all night long. Bedtime becomes a nightmare. Eating becomes a nightmare. He just has all of this cooped up energy that he's just ready to get out. And yeah, so take your kids outside for at least an hour a day. Something that I've had to learn going from 1 kid to 2 is to give your toddler some independence. Let them be bored. If they don't like their toys, that's okay. It's okay to let them sit there. It's okay to let them use their imagination and come up with their own games and their own toys and their own characters that they give their toys. It's okay to not tend to them and to not play with them 24/7, especially being a first-time parent where you're like, oh, I only have 1 kid. I can play with them all the time. I can play with them at the park. I can play with them literally anywhere. Give them some independence. Let them explore themselves. Let them explore nature. Let them explore their own toys. Let them be bored, because that's where their best imagination comes from. And that way they start to use the things that you have taught them as a parent and how to play with these toys and how to go with their cars. And it's just great. So I have noticed a huge difference with Caden, especially within the last 3 or 4 months that we've had Carter. He doesn't care about me in the mornings anymore. He just goes straight to his toys and he is perfectly content playing with his toys, and he really doesn't even talk to me. Number 4 is something I'm very passionate about, especially with baby-led weaning. Number 4 is to let them use their senses. Let them get dirty. Let them play in the mud, play in the rain, play with the dirt and the grass. Let them touch bugs, preferably not spiders, but whatever. Let them touch bugs. Let them look at things. Let them hear things outside. Let them like point out things that they see. It will greatly expand their vocabulary and allow them to just flourish in nature. Number 5 for toddler tips is to not force your kiddo to eat. We actually just went through this the other week where Caden was not eating anything. I cooked him 3 eggs for breakfast, did not touch it at all. I had them on the table from like 10 a.m. to noon and they were not even touched at all. Yes, it is a waste, but obviously something is going on with Caden, so I just didn't pressure him at all. I said, if you're hungry, you can eat these eggs. If not, whatever, it's fine. I do suggest to offer well-rounded and nutritious meals and snacks throughout the day. If they want to eat, they will. If they don't, then they won't. I'll share a little bit about my experience, especially this week. So Caden did not eat any breakfast, hardly any snacks. He ate a little bit of dinner. He still had his normal activities, running and jumping outside that we normally do on a daily basis. And he was like that for about 2 to 3 days. I was not really worried, but I'm like, like he's probably going through a growth spurt or going to be going through a growth spurt. Within that few days that he was not eating, he also took a 2.5-hour nap, which that is like honestly unheard of. So he slept until 3:30, from 1:30 until 3:30, and that never happens. Like typically he's capped out at an hour and a half, and that's like a great nap. So he obviously was going through a growth spurt, whether it was like mental or physical. He is now eating a ton. He eats breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks and drinks a ton of water. So he obviously needed that to not eat in those days, in those moments, to deal with whatever was going on in his body. So don't stress too much as long as your kid is like gaining weight normally. Don't stress too much about them going through weird phases of not eating and like, oh, I thought you liked this the other day, or oh, you asked for this and now you don't want it. Like, yes, it's annoying, but just don't force them to eat, because then they could resent you or resent the food and say, oh no, I don't like eggs anymore because you're forcing me to eat it. So there's that. Number 6 is to give your children independence and freedom at parks and public places when there are other kids there. Allowing them to play with other kids and explore and make friends is really going to help with their social aspect of their lives, and allow them to make friends and explore things on their own, and give them a little bit more of an independence with an imagination where they can go chuck rocks at trees, for example. Number 7 is to set clear boundaries with your toddler. Whatever that looks like for you, I'm gonna leave that to your imagination as a parent. Definitely set the boundaries. Tell them what's okay to do and what's okay not to do. And definitely have discipline, consequences, whatever you wanna do. Just whatever that looks like for you and your family, do that. Number 8 is toddlers and kids in general thrive on routine. When your kids know what to expect from you and what to expect from their day, there are no surprises. Everything is going to plan for the most part, most of the days, not all. Your child will definitely thrive in that environment and kind of know what to expect, know the boundaries, know what they're going to be doing that day and what they're going to be, what times they're going to be eating and taking a nap and playing and whatever. And that way they can hopefully reduce the amount of tantrums, because they're not going like, oh, what's next, and then it's just chaos. At least for Caden, if we are just constantly going, if he skips a nap, if his nap is delayed or early, we definitely see a difference in his brain just kind of short circuits a little bit, and it's kind of like sporadic, and he's like, what the heck is going on? Like, yeah, I'm with my mom and my dad and my brother, but like now things are changing and it's weird. So typically we have a little bit of a harder time dealing with that kind of behavior when we are not sticking to our schedule. Number 9 is to talk to your toddlers often. This is a huge one. I've definitely noticed a huge increase in Caden's vocabulary with us talking to him often, especially Brandon, my husband, will ask Caden constantly what he sees. So it gives Caden an opportunity to look at the clouds, to look at the trees, to notice what colors things are, to hear, and he'll point to his ears and say, heard, which is really funny. He'll point to his ears, say "heard," and listen to the birds tweeting, listen to the airplanes going by, and it really allows him to use his senses in nature and notice a lot of different things. Number 10 for my top 10 toddler tips is to offer arts and crafts often. This is something that I struggle a little bit with just because I'm nursing often, so I really just don't want marker and crayon on my wall, and like giving that toddler the opportunity to draw on my walls with marker and crayon is just like So that's something I struggle with, but I'm suggesting for you to do it. Give them markers and crayons, give them Play-Doh and kinetic sand. It really helps with their fine motor skills and allows them to use their hands and feel the textures, and it's just really great for everything regarding their hands and their brain and just like hand-eye coordination. So I highly suggest that for your toddler as well. That is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to click on my playlist to see the rest of my top 10 videos. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.